Imagine this.
Yeah.
Stepping into a room where the air itself is lethal.
Mm-hmm.
Not from weapons, or anything you can see.
Right. An invisible force.
It sounds like something out of, well, some chilling sci-fi story, doesn't it? But it's hauntingly real.
Yeah.
Today we're taking a deep dive into the control room, deep inside the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. This is post-meltdown Japan.
And our mission, really, in this deep dive, it's not just about exploring the physical dangers, being in a place like that. It's also about trying to grab the incredible human resilience shown there.
Right.
Because while the headlines screamed about the immediate disaster, our sources dig into something maybe more chilling.
Which is?
The silent, long-term psychological fallout, and how in some ways, tragically, it claimed more lives than the initial event itself. That often gets lost.
That's a heavy thought. To really get the weight of that, we need to go back, right?
We do. Let's set the scene. Summer 2014.
Okay.
3.5 years after the big disaster, March 11th, 2011.
Right.
Picture a team of journalists. They're getting ready to go into what some called, pretty chillingly, the world's most dangerous meeting room.
Wow. And the precautions they had to take.
Oh, incredible. Gas masks, triple gloves.
Triple gloves.
Yeah. Hazmat suits, all sealed up with tape. Rubber boots, layers of socks. Even ice packs tucked in?
Ice packs. Why?
Well, partly the heat inside the suits, but also because the radiation itself was still, pulsing at dangerous levels. All that gear was absolutely necessary.
And this threat, it's invisible.
Completely. That's the terrifying part, isn't it? Radiation. Can't see it, can't smell it, silent.
But incredibly powerful.
Powerful enough to damage your body on a cellular level, molecule by molecule, without you even knowing it's happening.
So how did they even track it?
They had dosimeters. Little devices worn around their necks, constantly measuring the accumulated radiation exposure.
Oh, good.
And these things were clicking, recording that danger constantly. Now, some areas around the plant had gotten safer over time, sure, but this specific room, the control room, the nerve center for dealing with the reactors, it stayed, well, hauntingly radioactive, even years later.
And what was it like inside? The sources describe it.
Yeah, they paint a really eerie picture. Screens just dark, dormant, lifeless. But the thing that really stood out, calculations scrawled frantically on surfaces by engineers during the crisis.
Still there?
Still there, like silent testimonies, evidence of people desperately trying to figure things out to stop the collapse.
It's hard to even imagine the conditions right after it happened.
Utter chaos. Get this. Electricity wasn't even back on until March 24th.
March 24th. But the quake was March 11th.
Exactly. Nearly 2 full weeks later.
So they were working. How?
In total darkness. Just flashlights. Trying to fight this invisible enemy they couldn't even properly see.
Unbelievable courage.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the cleanup effort. It was immense. Just staggering.
Yeah.
Despite all those dangers we just talked about, teams of workers, 6,000 of them, kept going. Day in, day out. Trying to contain the fallout.
6,000 people. That's a huge number.
It's a massive, sustained human effort against an enemy you can't see, feel, or smell.
So how do you contain something like that, something invisible that gets into everything?
Well, the ingenuity is pretty remarkable, but also sobering. Take one key measure our sources highlight.
Okay.
They had to deal with enormous amounts of contaminated water. So they built hundreds of these huge storage tanks, massive things, each one holding about 1,000 tons of radioactive water.
1,000 tons each.
Yeah. And there were hundreds. They ended up forming this grim kind of forest of metal tanks right there on the plant site.
Wow. A forest of tanks.
A very visible monument to an invisible ongoing threat, just trying to keep things toxic fluids contained.
That image really sticks with you. But amidst all that devastation, were there any other signs, any hints of life?
There were. Almost like faint whispers, as the sources put it, even beyond the immediate plant chaos in the surrounding land. Azaleas were blooming.
Really? Bright colors and all that.
Yeah. Delicate, vibrant flowers, and they saw a rabbit just hopping across a deserted road. Tiny things, right? But powerful signs of nature just persisting. And maybe human persistence, too, in a landscape that was just completely changed.
But the impact, it wasn't just the physical landscape, was it? You mentioned the psychological side.
Exactly. The fallout from Fukushima went way beyond the physical or biological. The psychological, the social dimensions, they were profound. maybe even more so.
And there was an official investigation that looked into this.
Yes, the Nuclear Accident Independent Investigation Commission, they put out a report in 2012, and it's a tough read. Really digs in.
What did they find?
They were incredibly critical. They pointed fingers not just at the event itself, but at deep cultural and systemic failures within Japan.
Like what?
Things like blind obedience, groupthink, a real reluctance to challenge authority. They argued these weren't just quirks, but traits baked into the institutional structure.
So the system itself was part of the problem.
That was their stark conclusion. They called Fukushima a made-in-Japan disaster, implying it was as much about those internal system failures as it was about the earthquake and tsunami.
That's a really powerful indictment. Did they give examples? Like, how did that reluctance to challenge authority actually affect decisions during the crisis?
Oh, yeah. The report detailed specific instances. Concerns about safety protocols being sort of waved away by senior management, workers feeling they couldn't speak up about critical issues because the culture valued harmony, keeping things smooth, over actually challenging the status quo.
Even in an emergency.
Especially then, it paints this picture where the organization itself kind of stifled the critical thinking that was desperately needed.
And the human cost. We know the earthquake and tsunami were devastating. Nearly 20,000 killed.
Catastrophic numbers, yes. But when you focus just on Fukushima, the prefecture affected by the nuclear disaster, the story gets even more complex, more tragic in a different way.
How so? This is the part that often gets missed, isn't it?
Crucially, yes. In Fukushima, the indirect toll from stress, from being displaced, the trauma, that toll actually ended up being higher than the immediate death count from the disaster within that specific area.
Higher than the immediate death.
Yeah. It's a really profound point about these kinds of long-term disasters. And think about this. An estimated 125,000 residents are still evacuees today.
Still, after all this time.
Still, many stuck in prefab temporary housing. Their homes are inside the exclusion zones, areas still deemed too contaminated.
So they might never go back.
They might never go back. The sources even mention that decontamination efforts, which were supposed to make areas safe again, failed in some places as recently as June.
So for some, that hope of returning, it's gone.
It solidifies that tragic reality. They may never truly go home.
So standing in that control room, thinking about that place that once directed the crisis response, it feels like more than just visiting a disaster site.
It really does. It's like confronting our own limits, isn't it? Maybe even the hubris of our modern world. What happens when our own creations face forces we can't fully control?
Yeah. But it's also a testament to human courage, right?
Absolutely. You think of those thousands of workers who risked everything.
Those faint balloons in the poisoned land you mentioned.
Exactly. And just the sheer determination to try and rebuild even when things seem impossible.
It's not just a story of disaster then.
No, not at all. It's fundamentally about resilience, isn't it? People, communities, forced to rebuild literally from the ground up. The lessons weren't just in official reports.
They were etched onto those walls.
Etched into radiation-scarred walls, yeah. And shown in the silent courage of all those workers. It's such a powerful reminder. Our biggest threats are often the ones we can't see, like radiation.
But maybe our greatest strengths are unseen too.
That's a great way to put it. Maybe think about that. How often are the most profound dangers and also the most extraordinary acts of courage happening just beyond what we can immediately see or perceive?